Just one like and I will release the second video where I rank all Supermassive Games titles. Well, you did it! Thank you to everyone who supported my previous video and especially to the brave soul who left the very first like. As promised, today we are ranking every Supermassive Games title. Along the way, I also want to figure out how and why they stopped making games exclusively for Sony, which games were published under Bandai Namco, who owns the studio now and who is publishing their games today. I'm Marusia and this is my Supermassive Games tier list. But to do it properly, we need to move over to the computer. Give me 10 seconds, guys. And while I'm doing this, please check out my Discord, Patreon and Instagram. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. I hope you brought something tasty to snack on because we are starting now. Here's a little information from Wikipedia. Supermassive Games was never an internal Sony studio, right? But starting around 2008 or 2009, they made quite a few games for Sony. They also support games like Little Big Planet 1 and 2, which I personally played. And work on a PlayStation 3 remaster for Killzone. In 2012, they released the Wonder Book Walking with Dinosaurs for PlayStation Move. Why I mentioned this game specifically? Well, just because I had a similar Wonder Book game set for Harry Potter universe. But of course, Supermassive Games took off in 2015 when Until Dawn was released. As far as I understand, Sony handed the project over them because Until Dawn was originally being developed by another studio for the PlayStation 3. And here we are, let's go! I didn't play Until Dawn when it first came out. At that point, I hadn't even started streaming yet, and I didn't own a PlayStation, but I was already watching a lot of streams on Twitch, and Until Dawn became a huge hit there. Maybe that's because it was released quiet and didn't have a massive advertising campaign. Sony probably didn't expect that much from the project like that, you know. And honestly, it feels very Sony. But almost immediately after release, people discovered the game and really liked it. I think that's because a lot of people, including me, are crazy about this kind of game, this kind of genre, and they are barely an alternative back then. To be honest, there are still not many of them. I finally played it myself in 2017 when I got my first PlayStation 4. It was one of the first games I bought for my console. I remember buying a whole stack of discs at the same time, at once. The first three Uncharted games, Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, and Until Dawn. Even though I already knew the biggest twist in that time, I still had a great time playing it. Of course, I immediately replayed several times in a row, I guess, to see different endings, try to save everyone, and you know, all that stuff. I liked almost everything. The graphics, the characters, the story, and the main theme. I'm completely serious about that, actually. I still occasionally listen to the specific version of Death. As the characters, they are fantastic. Every character is easy to understand, I guess, and each of them has a clear personality or an archetype. And the Mike Monroe, he's basically a textbook example of character development. Okay, maybe I'm a little exaggerating, but still, none of Supermassive's other games have character written this well. Maybe House of Ashes comes close to it, but we will get that a little later. The cast is also incredible, I can say. Rami Malek, Peter Stormare, come on! And the don't move mechanic, where you have to keep the controller completely still. This is a great gameplay feature. It always adds tension, my hands start sweating, my heart starts pounding. It works every single time. By the way, on my previous video I talked about some of the best mechanic in Supermassive Games title. Please watch it when you have time. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. The last time I played the original Until Dawn was probably 3 or 4 years ago. Then in 2024 I played the remastered version on PC when it came out. And honestly, I was genuinely worried that the PC version wouldn't include the don't move mechanic. Thankfully, it was still there, and of course I played with the DualSense controller. I also replayed it again last Halloween and had a great time, by the way. And then Until Dawn 2 was announced. You can see my first blind reaction to the trailer in this video. I was kind of shocked when I found out that the Supermassive Games wasn't making it, and it was being developed by Pride or something like that, one of the Sony's internal studios. But after doing a little search online, I found out that yes, Until Dawn actually belongs to Sony. For some reason, I had never really thought about that before. And honestly, one of my Roman empires is a question of why Supermassive Games has never managed to repeat Until Dawn's success. My guess is obviously Sony's budget. But even then, considering that Until Dawn went through such a long and complicated development, it's kind of amazing that the final game turned out to be a good one, right? Yeah, basically I always have something to say about Until Dawn, and I could talk about it for a long time. And of course I put Until Dawn in the best. I think I've already made my opinion very clear. Let's move on. I feel like not many people played Rush of Blood. It came out in 2016 for PlayStation VR. I don't think the headset was especially popular, but I actually owned one and I played this VR game on Steam. And yes, it's me in 2017, by the way. So what exactly is this game? It is really on-rails shooter. It's a direct spin-off of Until Dawn, if I'm not mistaken. Throughout the game we see a familiar location, familiar faces and things like that. I can't really tell you much about the plot just because I barely remember it, but I definitely remember being scared simply because it was in VR, you know. Personally, when I played VR, my brain genuinely believes what is happening around me, you know. So the whole experience felt extremely uncomfortable and creepy, but it was also fast, intense and full of adrenaline, I can say. It was fun, yeah. Still, I played it only once and never went back to it. Does it say something? Maybe. I'm not sure which category I should put it. Is it good? Or had a potential? I think I'm going to put it to good, I guess, simply because I remember feeling like this was a real horror, you know, and for VR it worked well. Next up, Hidden Agenda. The PlayStation 4 had this feature called Playlink, which was designed for playing with friends. In Hidden Agenda, you could all play together on one console. Everyone watched the same TV or monitor. The story developed, different things happened, and then everyone voted on what should happen next. As far as I understand, there isn't much traditional gameplay. You mostly watch the events happen and the vote on the decision, and that's it. The game came out in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, and look, you can already see the familiar faces. The face models would later appear on the Supermassive titles, including Dark Pictures Anthology. I never played Hidden Agenda myself because I had nobody to play with. You need a big group, I guess, and I genuinely didn't have one. I really wanted to play it, but somehow I never got around to it. I wonder if I can still buy it on PlayStation 4 and actually play it properly today. Is it possible? So I'm putting Hidden Agenda never played, but I feel like if I had played it, I probably would have gone into potential, I guess, because the idea is really cool. Actually, games like Jackbox Party Pack basically work on the same idea. Everyone connects with their phones and uses it to play. The Impatient was another one, PlayStation VR exclusive, and I played it on the release, if I'm not mistaken. It's very short, probably around 2 hours or something like that. It's either a spin-off or prequel for Until Dawn. The story is about the miners who survived the mine collapse. You remember that story from the original game, the miners who eventually turned out into Wendigos. Honestly, I can't say anything especially bad about this game, but I can't say anything especially good about this game either. It's basically a walking simulator with jump scares. It's not bad, but it's not good. I wouldn't call it complete failed, but I definitely can't call it a good game. So I think I should put it had a potential, simply because expanding the lore of the Until Dawn universe is a cool idea. Let's move on. Bravo Team is another game I never played, but guys, I really wanted to. One of the reasons why I didn't play it is that the marketing make it look like you were supposed to use this special kind of controller shaped like a gun. And for context, the original PlayStation VR didn't really have their own controllers. You could either play with a standard gamepad, which I can say immediately damaged the immersion, right? Or use PlayStation Move controllers, which basically been inherited from PS3 era. Or you could use this special gun-shaped controller that Sony made for shooters. At the time, I didn't see the point buying another one huge plastic controller just because I already had the Guitar Hero guitar. It just collected dust and that's it. Guys, if any of you have played Bravo Team, please tell me about this in the comment. I really want to know your thoughts about this game. Yes, I put it never played, but with a little of regret because I really wanted to play it. In 2019, Supermassive Games started working with a new publisher, Bandai Namco Entertainment, just because they wanted to release games not only for PlayStation, you know. Bandai Namco published the entire first season of Dark Pictures Anthology. As far as I remember, they originally said that games in the series would come out almost every 6 months. The whole point was that it would be an anthology, right? And I thought that also explained why the same actor keep appearing. But while preparing for this video, I discovered that the actors are usually different. It's mostly the same face model being reused every time. I still couldn't find clear information about exactly who all of those models belong to. They definitely didn't manage to release a game every 6 months. Each title came out a little over the year after the previous one. And then, you see, the second season took almost 4 years to begin. 4 years. Wow. Okay, 3.5 years, but still. So, let's begin with the first game in the Dark Pictures Anthology, Man of Medan. If I remember it correctly, I played all of games at launch, including this one. So, what did I like? The story itself is decent. I like the idea of taking urban legends as a basis for the game, you know, without making everything openly supernatural. There is technically something mysterious happening, but it's based on a legend, and everything eventually gets simple and practical explanations. I also like the main twist and the fact that it wasn't a supernatural thing. For example, there is a legend about the ship called Medan, which was carrying the Manchurian gold and disappeared from radar. The characters are fine and the performances are pretty good, I can say. I wouldn't say the characters are deeply developed, but at least they are readable or understandable. And of course, I have to mention the curator. The character was performed brilliantly, and the mystery surrounding who or what he actually is still bothers me sometimes. The more recognizable actors include Sean Ashmore and Pip Torrance as the curator. And the odd death theme from this game is also still in my playlist. At the time, the heartbeat mechanic where you had to press button in rhythm felt completely new to me. I remember not liking it very much at launch. But they made it more interesting in later games. Another thing I didn't like, it wasn't a setting itself, but the ship as a location. Everything is dark, rusty, and visual repetitive. There were some beautiful hallucinations in the ballroom, for example, and moments like that, but there weren't enough of them. And also, I didn't like the notes. There are too many of them, you know, and some are hidden in awkward places, so you have to search for them. A lot of lore is also hidden in comics, and you need to unlock it by completing the game in a specific ways. So you basically have to replay the game just to access them, you know. They made the whole system way too complicated, I can say. I also replayed Man of Medan in co-op later, and I realized that I don't really like the way co-op in this series. The thing is, two players experience different scenes, and you don't see what is happening to the other person, right? Quite often one player gets an exciting action scene with choices and cuties, while the other person is just walking around and reading notes, and that's it. I didn't enjoy it. I played every later game alone because the co-op mode simply didn't work for me. Tell me in the comments, guys, do you think games like that actually need to co-op mode? You can disagree with me, but personally I consider it as a fail. First of all, my expectations were probably too high or something like that, but that was my personal problem, right? Second, it felt like an experiment for the studio. You could immediately see the difference in budget after the Sony era. And honestly, we can see that difference today as well. So this is probably unpopular opinion. The game must have sold well enough because they continued making the series and they are still making it now, right? So let's say like that. This is my least favorite Supermassive game title, and mostly for that reason it stayed right here in the failure. Little Hope was already an improvement. This time the story wasn't really based on an urban legend, but the main twist genuinely surprised me. Judging by the reviews, a lot of people didn't like it and some people just didn't understand it. But personally, I was okay with it. It made sense to me. The story overall is fine, I guess. One thing that drove me absolutely crazy was the transition between the present days and the past days. Every transition was basically a jump scare, I can say. The first time it was scary, the second time it was unexpected. Starting with the third time, it was not scary anymore at all. It was just annoying, and that's it. The second thing I didn't like or understand was the character trait system. Depending on what you did or didn't do during the story, certain character traits would unlock or remain locked. But it was never clear which action was connected to which trait, you know. At some random point, the game would suddenly cover like the entire scene and announce that you had unlocked the character trait. Okay, but why? What did I do? I'm glad that they abandoned that system in their later games. Now I'm looking at my tier list and genuinely can't decide where to put Little Hope. Is it good or is it had a potential? It's not exactly good, but it's also better than the Impatient, you know. So if I compare to these two games, Little Hope has to go a little bit higher, I guess, right? So put it in a good thing. I'm going to put House of Ashes straight to really good, and now I will explain why. This is my favorite Dark Pictures Anthology game. First of all, compared to first two games, it really stands out just because of its settings, of course, and the fact that the supernatural elements are actually real this time. The story is decent, actually I would say it's good. The characters are excellent as well. They're easy to understand, they have proper backgrounds, and the personal history. I also love the way the relationships between them change. You know that the enemy of my enemy, my friend. And everything like that. The most recognizable name in the cast is probably Ashley Tisdale. I remember seeing her in the Disney shows. Your choices can genuinely change the game, even when you think a choice is insignificant. The combat scenes and the QTE are staged really well. They actually feel like proper action scenes, something like that. I replayed House of Ashes last Halloween and I enjoyed it all over again. Then, completely out of nowhere, the Quarry was released in the middle of 2022, if I'm not mistaken, with a completely different publisher, 2K. As far as I understand, this game had a complicated development history. There were rumors that it was originally meant to become something close to Until Dawn 2 or something like that, and that Sony founded it. But what we do know for sure is that the project was being developed for Google Stadia. We all know what happened to Google Stadia. Its story is a sad one. So, Supermassive Games had to look for a new publisher. Because the game was already deep into development or something like that, and was apparently almost finished. They offered the project to K, and that's how the Quarry finally made it to the release. You can immediately see the bigger scale. The game is longer, around 8 or 10 hours, and the cast isn't just star. It's basically Hollywood. Lin Shaye, Lance Hendrickson, Grace Zabriskie, Brenda Song, Ariel Winter from one of my favorite sitcom, Modern Family, and Ted Raimi. On one hand, I don't really understand why they needed such a huge celebrity cast. But on the other hand, maybe they wanted to reach a larger audience. I really don't know. The characters are well written, although not all of them got enough development, but still. The story is basically a tribute to 1980s slasher movies. Of course, this game also has its own version of the curator between the chapters. A fortune teller who reads the tarot card that we carefully search for throughout the location. I didn't like the narrow-based QTEs. I wish they had kept the normal button prompts, you know. And overall, the game is far too easy. There are even these extra lives that you can spend if one of your character dies by accident. And you want to replay the scene. And then there is that so-called movie mode when you can decide in advance whether each character lives or dies, and then basically sit there and watch 8-hour movie. That's it. But overall, the Quarry is going to go to the really good just because it's a large and high quality game.
Pop, pop, peanut butter, butter pops. Pop, pop, pop them in your mouth. Pop!
After the first trailers, I was really looking forward to this game, The Devil in Me. The game itself was entertaining to play. I can remember it with one major exception. The movement and the camera feel extremely clumsy, I can say. Okay, let me explain. The thing is, after a cutscene ends, or after your character jumps somewhere or something like that, you often have to wait a few seconds before you can start moving forward. It's incredibly annoying, and the whole thing feels very awkward that way. During my first playthrough, the only survivor was the dog. Literally. At one point, I thought, well, that's it. Absolutely nobody survived, and then the game showed me a cutscene where the only dog escaped. I'm actually glad that they included an entire ending where the dog doesn't just survive, but becomes the only survivor. I actually can't remember many other major negatives here. Maybe some of them have simply disappeared from my memory. It could be like that, that's for sure. But based on my overall memories and the whole vibe, I put Devil in Me as a good one. Okay, I will say it immediately. I never played this game, and I didn't even know it exists, you know? Sony, as always, gives a project absolutely no marketing unless it's some huge blockbuster from their internal studio that costs something like 300 millions to develop and all of that. From what I've seen on YouTube, Switchback VR is basically the same kind of VR as Rush of Blood. So yeah, I put it here as never played, and let's move on. Okay, as far as I understand, Behavior Interactive wanted to make a story-driven game based on Dead by Daylight, right? So they approached to Supermassive Games. Honestly, I don't even know how to talk about this game, just because almost everything about it is bad. The story is confusing, the characters are annoying, and they decided to abandon Supermassive Games' familiar gameplay. For example, instead of normal QTEs, we get these Dead by Daylight style skill checks, and they feel completely out of place in this genre. I also didn't like the fact that the game barely explains the lore of Dead by Daylight. The characters are completely original. The main villain, that killer, is also completely original and doesn't appear in Dead by Daylight, if I'm not mistaken. As far as I understand, I'm not an expert at all, this location doesn't exist in a Dead by Daylight either. The choices feel illogical here. It's impossible to understand what any decision will actually lead to. And the relationships between the characters aren't properly developed either. I'm not going to lie, guys, and say that I feel absolutely nothing when I played it. There were some moments with some real tension, of course, and I may even have worried about the characters somewhere at some points. I really wanted to put this game as it had the potential, just because there was genuinely an opportunity to create an interesting connection to the Dead by Daylight lore, you know. So sadly, really sadly, I'm putting it as a failed. I don't know who is responsible here. Was it Behavior Interactive because they didn't provide enough budget or gave Supermassive's unclear instructions? Or was it Supermassive Games because they simply did a careless job? If I only played the demo of Little Nightmares 3, doesn't that count as playing the game or not? So yes, it's true, I only played the demo and I didn't like it, especially because I played Reanimal almost immediately afterwards. I understand that Bandai Namco, the owner of the franchise, handed development to another studio. But apparently neither the developer and the publisher understood what the core of Little Nightmares actually is. For some reason, they added a completely unnecessary co-op mode there. Okay, I'm already starting to analyze a full video game based only on a demo. So yes, I simply putting it never played, I guess, let's be honest guys. But mentally I've already realized that this game probably isn't for me. That is what demos are for, right? And here we are. Supermassive Games published Directive 8020 by themselves, which means they are both the developers and the publisher. But if you think that means the studio is now fully independent, that isn't exactly true. Nordisk Games acquired the studio in 2022 or something like that. I still don't completely understand how to describe Nordisk Games. They seems to be something between an investment company, an owner the game studios, and the small gaming holding company. I don't know guys. As far as I understand, this arrangement allows Supermassive Games to keep the rights to their own games, act as their own publisher, and still receive some financial support from Nordisk Games. I already shared my full opinion about the Directive 8020 in my previous video, which you can watch here somewhere, I don't know. But to summarize, this game only for the serious fans. I definitely wouldn't recommend using it as your introduction to Supermassive Games And because of the price, I also can't recommend buying it right now. It really isn't worth $50, guys, to be honest. And that's probably my main point. So now we have the most important question. Where do I put Directive 8020? It probably isn't a complete failure. Doesn't have a potential. Maybe, I guess so. It's kind of distinctive in its own way. But even with all due respect, I can't put it in the same category as the really good games. So what do I do? What do I do? I guess I should put it had a potential. Just because that is honestly how I feel. And if we look at the first season of the Dark Pictures Anthology, the first game was very weak, right? But every new game improved the previous one. Maybe something similar will happen here. I really hope so. So, this is the final picture. The best Supermassive Games is Who Could Have Guessed Until Dawn, a game that came out 11 years ago. The worst games for me, Man of Medan and The Casting of Frank Stone. It also turns out there are 4 Supermassive games I've never played. I don't know whether it's good or not. If you look at the whole tier list, it may seem like Supermassive mostly makes average unremarkable games, right? And honestly, that's true. But you know, I really root for the Polish studio Bluebird team. During the 10 years I've been following them, they went from a small studio that could only make horror walking simulator to a much larger developer working with Konami, for example, and creating major games like Silent Hill 2 remake. I really want things to work out for Supermassive Games too. So thank you guys for watching till the end. It turned out a little chaotic, I guess, just because I recorded most of it without a proper script or preparation. It's just my thoughts. As usual. Tell me please in the comments what you agree with, what you disagree with, and what your favorite game in this genre. It doesn't have to be made by Supermassive Games, it can be from another studio. Please subscribe to the channel and check out my socials. This is my Discord server, this is my Patreon, and somewhere here you can find an Instagram. So thanks again guys, love you very much, see you very soon, bye!
Hey Marlon, what's your mama and the Bermuda Triangle have in common?
Why are you fucking it like?
They both swallow Marines.
Yeah, that's pretty good, boy.